Hello traders, welcome to another trading interview, this time with one of our serious FTMO traders, Mohammed from the United States in Atlanta. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you for having me, Peter.
Yeah, we thank you too. And guys, for those who are listening for the first time, we are a proprietary trading company that actively search for trading talents. And therefore, we have developed a unique two-step evaluation process that consists of a FTMO challenge and verification pass. And once you pass this process, you will be offered a unique placement in our proprietary trading company where you can remotely manage your own FTMO account. And that is why we have Mohammed here, because Mohammed has right now one mastery account with $200,000. And last month, he made $20,000, 21. And that's a great result. So before we are going to talk about how he could manage and how he could possibly make this profit, we'll be talking about him. So Mohammed, can you tell us something about you and, as your introduction?
Absolutely, man. As Peter said in the introduction, my name is Mohammed Kande. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from a very small country, Guinea, West Africa. Born and raised there. I moved to the United States in December 2003 to go to school and have a better life. My older brother was, and I moved here to be with him to kind of, go to school and, live that American dream that everybody talked about,
Wow. And how did you get there and with whom? With your family?
Yes, with my family, my brother, my mother and my brother were here, and then I moved here with them.
Wow.
Yeah. So very, very small, humble beginnings. I came here to just go to school, played sports, in middle school and high school. Went to college for a couple of years and decided that wasn't for me. And then I got into the automotive industry. I used to be a car salesperson.
Okay.
I started selling cars, 2012, right out of college, I started selling cars. And, moved up in the car industry pretty good. I ended up becoming a finance manager in the automotive industry. And I got introduced to trading in 2016. And when I was selling cars, two of my friends, I'll never forget it, man. April of 2016, I got introduced to trading. Okay. And I think May of 2016, I opened up my first Talonix account. I don't know if traders out there who know, but
how big account?
My first account was like $500.
And how fast was the blowing away?
Actually, it took a while, man. I turned $500 into like $7,600.
Okay.
And then one night, I was trading AUD USD. One night, AUD had a meeting, and the market just dropped. Man,
what
it's
happened?
like
what happened?
I don't, man, my $7,600 account, I was at one point in that trade, I was almost up 10 grand because of the meeting. And then the market dropped, man. And I think like I closed, like I couldn't move. Like that's the first time I dealt with psychology in the market. I froze.
And you didn't have the stop loss there?
No, I had my stop loss, but I never moved my stop loss up to break even. I never moved my stop loss up in profit.
Oh my. Okay.
So I'm up, I'm up almost $10,000, and then the market drops, and I think I ended up like closing everything at like $1,600, and then I was sick for like a week.
And how many times this happened to you?
Man, I have blown over probably closer to 30 accounts.
No way. No way.
Absolutely. Close to 30
so
accounts.
That's how much money?
Man. Okay, so I was in a very different position than most people, Peter, right? Because, I had a job where I made really, really good money. So I was able to invest a lot of money into trading. When it was all said and done, man, 6 figures I lost in the markets before I became profitable. 6 figures, man. Wow. And I have the receipts to prove it. I've lost a lot.
Maybe you can show me them after.
Absolutely. At least over $150,000 I've lost trading before I got to the point where I started actually making money. Absolutely. It was a long road for sure.
And so you were in the car dealership.
Yes.
And before that, What did you study, for example?
Well, I was a pre-medicine and biology major.
Okay.
So I was a pre-medicine.
And you didn't want to do this?
I didn't want to do that. You know, I come from an African background, and when you come to America, you either need to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that's good enough. You know, anything else is not. So so I decided that I wanted to become an anesthesiologist. So that's working towards. And after a couple of years of college, I got my associate's degree. I realized, you know what? I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? I don't want to do this. And I started working at a company called Racetrack. It's a gas station.
Okay.
So and it was at that gas station that I met a gentleman who was selling cars. He came to pump gas in his 6 Series BMW.
Wow.
And I asked him what he did, and he told me that he sold cars for a living. I said, well, that's what I want to do too, because I want a 6 Series BMW too.
and how many of those you have sold?
You know what?
How many of those you have sold?
I've sold quite a few BMWs, but I worked at a Honda dealership. I sold cars at Honda. I worked for a company called Sons Honda in McDonough, Georgia, for those people in Atlanta. So that's where I sold Hondas there. Right as the recession started to settle down. I started selling cars in 2012. One of the worst times to sell cars, man. It was really tough.
And what was the breaking point when you decide, trading is better than, dealership?
So in 2016, December of 2016, because I just started trading in May. December of 2016, my daughter is born, and I tried to take a 2 weeks vacation, and my job told me that I couldn't take a 2 week vacation. I could only take a few days. And it was at that time that I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to trade full time. I don't want to do this anymore. So of course I quit my job December of 2016 to trade, but I only lasted 2 months. And then February of 2017, I went back into the car business at another dealership to do finance.
And how many accounts have you blown in those 2 month period?
I didn't blow any accounts during that time.
Okay.
I didn't blow any accounts during that time because I was super focused on, you know what, I'm gonna get out of the business. I'm gonna trade full time. So those 2 months, I didn't blow any accounts.
So you were profitable?
No, I wasn't profitable, but I wasn't blowing any accounts.
Okay.
So I wasn't blowing my accounts, but I was making money and then losing the money. So it's like I'll make a little bit of money and then I'll give it back to the markets. Yep. I'll make a little bit of money and I give it back to the markets. So that happened. And then 2 months later, I realized, okay, that wasn't sustainable. That didn't make sense. So December, I went back into the car business, and then I stayed there until so from February 2017 till December 2018. December 2018 is when I finally quit for good to trade full time.
So you've been probably learning the trading stuff in practicing. You haven't learned much about some theory or something, or how did you learn?
Self, man. It was self-taught. Like most people, I bought a couple of courses, and those courses unfortunately didn't they didn't do for me what I needed. I think that a lot of traders focus so much on technical analysis that they miss the boat on what's really important in trading. And in my opinion, the most important aspect of trading isn't fundamentals or technicals, but it is mental analysis.
Yeah, the
mental analysis. Yeah, psychology is gravely important. And unfortunately, the reason why so many traders are not successful is because they spend 99% of their times trying to figure out the best strategy, the best technical analysis, and they never work on themselves. They never work on their mental.
Yes,
and
that is correct.
Unfortunately, you're not going to be as successful if you don't work on self.
Yep. And with that goes the risk management, right?
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. You know what I mean? Like you have to know your you have to know how risk averse you are. Like me, for example, I'm very aggressive. You know what I mean? And because of that, I'm very risk averse. And many people aren't like that. Switching numbers, like going from trading my personal account, which was less than $10,000, to trading the FTMO account for the $100,000 challenge. Like I had to do some readjusting. I had to go back and recalibrate myself because I wasn't used to seeing those big numbers. When I was in drawdown $1,000, I was scared because $1,000 drawdown on a $10,000 account is very different than a $1,000 drawdown on a $100,000 account. So those are the small little adjustments that you have to make as a trader. You know what I mean? And those are the things that you have to really be self-aware about. You know, self-awareness is extremely important, you know, as a trader.
Okay, so let's now break down your strategy, because I would like to know how do you work with those charts and what strategy do you use? So you already told me that you use your head, right? Your brain. It's not about the fundamental or statistical or technical stuff. It's more about yourself. So can you more define that?
Absolutely. So when it comes from a trading standpoint, I don't come from the fundamental aspect of it. I come from the technical aspect of it, right? Okay. So I utilize technical analysis. Now, to say that I have a particular strategy that I use, I do not. I don't have one particular strategy that I use, because there are different market conditions, right? The strategy that you use in a trending market is probably not going to work in a consolidating market. And the strategy that you use in a consolidating market is most likely not going to work in a trending market.
Yeah, so, but if you are, for example, focusing only on one instrument, you can, you know, easily follow what's happening to it, you know, because you are only focusing on two economies, or just if you are following some index, you are just following one economy.
Like me personally, I cannot go to the charts and say, okay, Peter, this is what I do every single time to win the trade, because I don't work. Yeah, because I don't work like that. So for instance, I trade the pound Australian dollar. That's my favorite pair. That's the only, for the most part, that's the only pair that I trade. Right, 80% of my trades are going to come from that, and the other 20% are going to come from gold and maybe the pound yen. Right. So like on the pound Australian dollar, you know, when I'm trading the markets, it just depends, man. You know what I mean? I may catch an engulfing at support or resistance, you know what I mean? Which is my bread and butter, right? Like you know, like structural areas, you know what I mean? Engulfings, you know, but I don't necessarily call that a strategy, right? Because that you're getting into the market and you're finding an opportunity in the market, but that's not necessarily a strategy. So I don't come from that standpoint. I don't come from the standpoint that I have this particular strategy that I do all the time. I don't like to think like that, because the market is forever changing, and oftentimes when the market changes and people don't adapt to the market, they get messed up. So because of that, I like to think of it as I'm forever flowing with the market. I want to always flow with the market. I always want to be cognizant of whether or not the market is changing. And if the market is changing, I want to adapt with the market. So because of that, you know, that's what I focus on. That's what I focus on. So that's where my strategy comes from.
Okay, cool. So can you show me that in MetaTrader 4?
Absolutely. Well, I use TradingView, so I can show you that on that.
Show me in the TradingView.
Gotcha. All right. So as you guys can see, this is the pound Australian dollar. I'm on the daily chart right here, and I'm kind of going to zoom out just to kind of give you an idea. As you can see, I just have the area where I'm currently working is the area that I have marked up, and I usually don't like to cloud my charts, man. I like to make it very, very simple. I'm currently in a long position on the pound Australian dollar. And if you guys take a look right here, I use the 3-month chart, the monthly, the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, 3-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute, 15-minute. The 5-minute and the 1-minute are there, but I'm not a big fan of the 5-minute and 1-minute chart, so I don't generally get on those charts. You know, the lowest time frame that I'll place a trade is the 15-minute, which is actually where I took a trade on this pair right now. I'm actually in the trade right now. I had this initial push right here and a pullback, and then you had this push to the upside after price broke this little area right here, and then this pullback, and then I took it on an engulfing right here. I got in at 78.05. Right after this engulfing right here, I got in at 78.05 for the long, and I'm still in the trade as of now. So you know,
So you are days in the trade, right?
Yes, I've been in this trade since yesterday. Since yesterday, early yesterday, I took this trade. So I'm sorry. What are we today? Wow, we're Wednesday today. So Monday. I've been in this trade Monday. So I'm a swing trader, right? I swing trades. I'm not a trader. Yeah, I'm not a scalper or anything like that. I'm a swing trader. Usually when I'm in the markets, I'll usually hold a trade a day or 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Personally, I like to trade. You know, if I'm trend trading, I like to trade. I like to hold my trades over the weekend. But unfortunately, you know, with the FTMO accounts, they don't you know, they like it to close the trades on Friday because of gaps and stuff like that. So usually close out of the trade.
And you know why, right?
Oh, because of gaps. You know, there's gaps and there's, you don't know what's going to happen when the market opens up. The market can gap down and gap up 100 pips. You know,
you also are not trading during the weekend, right?
No, I don't trade during the weekend. No, that's like 100% break.
Yep.
You know, you got to get away from the charts. You got to get away from the markets.
That's why we have set the rules. Like, you know, it's really high risky stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So no, I always give myself that mental break. You know what I mean? I used to try to like trade like cryptos and stuff like that during the weekend.
Oh my God,
and I realized,
cryptos during weekends. It's impossible what's happening sometimes.
Absolutely. and I realized that it wasn't optimum at all. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be your absolute best self, you cannot, you have to give yourself that break, from Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for me till, Sunday at 5 p.m. Sunday morning, I usually wake up very early in the morning, go work out, meditate, and then I'll get on the charts, and then I'll do my technical analysis and my breakdown for the week. And then after that, I wait for the market to open up. And usually I never place trades on Sundays anymore. I stopped doing that because Sundays it's not worth it to me. You know what I mean? So Sundays I don't place trades. I usually wait until Monday.
Nice. I'm really interested about the meditation stuff. That's really important sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one thing that I realized for me is that I have to be a creature of routine, and those routines have to be set in. So for me, Monday through Friday, I wake up at 2:45 a.m. 2:45 in the morning, I wake up Eastern Standard Time. By 3 a.m., I go to the gym. I go to a 24-hour gym, 24-hour Snap Fitness. I work out from 3 till 4. I come back home, take a shower, meditate for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And then after that, I get in front of the charts because I trade the London session. So I trade from the London session until the U.S. session, and I have set working hours, right? So I trade from 5 a.m. London Eastern Standard Time till 12 p.m. After that, I'm done trading. After 12 p.m., I don't place any trades, no matter what. Rain, hail, sleep. No.
And before the execution, you go meditate.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. Every single day.
Wow.
If I do not meditate, I'm gonna take a loss. Like it's got to that point. Like mentally, like that's how I am now. Like every day when I wake up, before I get on the charts, I have to do my mindfulness meditation. 15 minutes mindfulness meditation every single day, Monday through Friday. If I don't do it, it's like I'm not there. You know what I mean? And I like to be all the way there mentally, and that's what I've realized helped me out. I like my blood pumping and flowing, so I go and I work out. I lift super heavy weights when I go work out because my blood is pumping, and then I come and I meditate, and then I'm mindful. And man, when I get on the charts, I'm gonna slaughter
I believe.
Absolutely.
Great inspiration for everybody, I believe.
For sure, absolutely. Yeah. To any trader out there, man, the traders who are trading now, you're wanting to do the FTMO, meditate. Learn how to meditate, man. Learn how to meditate. It is going to save you as a trader because our minds are not designed for a probabilistic environment. Trading is extremely probabilistic, and as humans, we're designed to either win or lose. And you have to get out of their mindset and get into the probabilistic mindset. And meditating has helped me do that tremendously.
And get the emotions out of it, right?
And get the emotions out of it. And you can never get the emotions completely out of there, but you just have to learn to get your emotions in check. Yep. And there's breathing techniques out there that you can do to help you get your emotions in check, help you understand when you're getting antsy, you know what I mean? When you're feeling a little uncomfortable, let's say sometimes you go up on the lot size and you're feeling a little worried, like all those things can be, you can understand how you're feeling. You can be self-aware of those things and navigate through them as you're trading. And it's very helpful.
Wow. Okay, let's go back to your chart and show me, for example, what indicators do you use, or what is your chart?
I don't usually use indicators, man. Like as you can see right here, I have the volume. Okay. You know what I mean? Just volume.
So the volume, that's important.
I have an idea where volume is on a higher time frame. Like if I'm in a trade long and I have a bearish engulfing that comes in, and then it comes in with a lot of volume, usually that's time for me to kind of pay attention to see what's going on and see if there's an area of structure that needs to be broken. Like this is a perfect example right here on the 4-hour chart. If you guys take a look, this candle right here came in with a lot of volume. You know what I mean? Just as much volume as the previous candles, right? And then if you can see, like right here, price is getting rejected from this 79.20 area, which is a psychological area for me, right? So price is getting rejected from this area. So I pay attention to stuff like that. So when I see something like that, then I'll go down to the lower time frame and, you know, I'll mark an area of structure right here. So, okay, you know what? I have this area right here. So if price closes, more than likely, if price closes below this area, first of all, 7,900. If price closes below 7,900, which is a psychological level, I'm thinking about, okay, you know what? This is probably an area that once price breaks below this area, I need to be considering closing my trade and taking my profits, right?
There will be some reaction probably.
Absolutely, absolutely. So those are the small things that I watch out for, and I try to keep it very, very small like that, right? And if you take a look at it right here on the higher time frame, you'll see, okay, price is pushed down to the 7,900 area, and it got rejected one time. It pushed again, and then it got rejected. So I'm going to see how this candle reacts right here, how this candle reacts, and the close of this candle is going to coincide with the close of a 2-hour candle, which the 2-hour chart is instrumental in my trading, and the 2 and 3 hour chart are instrumental in my trading process. So the way that these two time frames are going to close at 11 a.m. right here, Eastern Standard Time, is going to give me an idea of, you know what, maybe I need to get out of this trade, or maybe I need to hold on to this trade. There's more to come. But there's rejection, right? There was a nice little wick last night into a meeting. You know what I mean? Price pushed down. So I don't know if this is a pullback or if this is just a continuation of this downtrend right here. So I'm biased long on the trade, so I have to get that in check as well. You know, because oftentimes traders are either biased long or biased short. So you have to know what your bias is, and then, you know how to emotionally manage that trade once you're in the trade. So that's how it goes, man. That's how simple it is for me, man. So
nothing more, nothing less. And okay,
nothing more, nothing less, man. Price action, support and resistance. You know what I mean?
And are you looking for some, gravestone doji, or I don't know, some price action stuff?
Engulfings like this is my favorite candle to trade. Engulfings and pin bars are my favorite candles to trade. So engulfing off of a structure area is really nice. Pin bar off of you see structure right here. I actually took this trade right here. Pin bar on the daily chart right here off of my structure area. You know, this was a really, really good trade, right? So usually that's what I look for, but I try to keep it very, very simple, man. Like price action,
support and resistance, and then you are looking for some trends, right?
Some trends, yep. Price pushed down right here, price pushed up, and then price created a higher low. This is a key for me to take the price long. Simple as that. Very, very simple. I try to keep it extremely simple like that. When I do that, that is when I am at my best as a trader, when I keep it extremely simple like that.
And how many trades do you open?
Every day I'll probably place 2 trades max. So 1 to 2 trades. That's your
rule, or like if you?
That's my rule.
That's your rule.
That's my rule because when I got into trading, I used to overtrade a lot. I used to be that person that would place 30 trades in 1 week.
I know that.
You know what?
Absolutely, is the worst nightmare.
Man, come on, it is absolutely worse. And I had to realize,
you want to save the day, but you make worse everything.
100%, man. So you over here trying to save the day, and you end up getting yourself in more drawdown. So I'm so aggressive that I have to have these rules.
Yep.
So I have to, max, because I only trade 1 pair now. I used to be that guy that traded 15 pairs, 16 pairs. You know what I mean? And on Sundays,
I don't know what you mean.
Like when I would do my analysis for the week, I would spend hours all day doing analysis because I'm breaking down so many different markets. And I realized, you know what? You cannot be successful like that. You have to find it. Trading is so synonymous to life, right? In life, when you have one partner that you focus on, life is a lot easier. In trading, is the same thing. When you have one pair that you focus on, and you love that pair and you dote on that pair usually brings you back profits. And so that's how I look at it. Great. The pound Australian dollar, she's my wife, she's my baby. I take good care of her. She takes good care of me, and I only want to be with her. That's how I look at it.
And your strategy get you $21,000. So I want to see the results. So can you show me the metrics tab from Trader?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is the metrics tab for the 21K account. So I actually want to go down to the statistics real quick because I really want to show traders something. A lot of traders think that you need to be a 80%, 90%, 100% winning trader in order to be successful. Me personally, I'm a 35 to 40% winning trader. I'm not a 60, 70% winning trader. I'm a 30 to 40% winning trader, and I gladly admit that. But if you look at it right here,
it's much worse.
It's actually worse than that, right?
Yep.
23.68% win rate. But if you look at
this is the stuff, you know, important.
Right. You know what I mean? Like when I strike, it's hot, right? Like there's a lot of idle trading, you know what I mean? But when I finally get the position, because I'm a swing trader, right? So when I finally get that perfect position, I'm gonna swing it to the moon, and I'm gonna maximize my profits, right? And of course, that doesn't happen every time. But generally speaking, when I'm trading, I'm usually between 37 to 40% win rate. But my R&R is always, you know what I mean? My risk to reward, my rate of return ratio is always above a 3. It's always above a 3. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna get those. I'm gonna get those 3 to 1s. I'm gonna get those 4 to 1s. I'm gonna get those 5 to 1s. And if you look at my curve, it's a pretty decent curve. It's not. I'm not getting a lot of drawdown. You're not getting a lot of. You know what I mean? This is the biggest drawdown that I had right here. You know, I had got up all the way to 30 grand, and then I pushed all the way down to 17.
What did happen there? You know, you have like 31 grand.
So what happened? Yeah. So what happened was excited, emotional. You know, I got really excited. Right. I felt invincible. I felt like I could do no wrong. And then I got into the markets, and then the market is always going to humble you. The market is always going to bring you back to reality. You know, because this right here is me focusing on my trading, me taking my high probability trades. This right here is me thinking that I can do no wrong. I'm going to win every trade. Getting away from that probabilistic mindset and leaning towards I'm going to win or I'm going to lose, right? And then this curve back to the upside is me getting back into that probabilistic mindset and realizing that, okay, this is not about winning or losing. This is a game of probability. You know, you win some, you lose some. As long as you take high probability trades, you're going to end up on the positive side of things every single time.
Have you been meditating enough when you've been doing, you know, when you've been going down?
Yeah, like even like when I'm in drawdown, I still meditate every day. You know what I mean? When I'm in drawdown, because this is one thing I've realized.
So why does that happen?
Because
just more about the emotion, but I thought that you said that you try not to using that, and you know.
Absolutely. Well, because trading is not a sum total game, right? Because like just because you meditate every day does not mean that your emotions are going to be on check 100% of the time. We're still human, right?
Yes.
We're still going to
make mistakes. That's what I want to hear.
Absolutely. We're still human. We're still going to make mistakes. Just because you're meditating every day, just because you have a routine, doesn't mean that you're just going to win every single time. You're still going to have periods of drawdown. As a trader, you know, what separates the good traders from the best traders to the traders that don't make it at all is the fact that you understand that trading is drawdown is a part of the game, and you have to survive through drawdown, because those periods of drawdown come, and then when they come, you have to take it gracefully, and you have to handle it with care, so that way when that period of when those profiting periods come again, you're back over there again. You know what I mean? So
that's what I wanted to hear, and that's probably what followers want to hear, because you know it is ups and downs always. You know, you cannot go to the moon for a whole year. You cannot. So even if you have set rules, and you know, if you meditate, and even if you are the best one, you cannot go always to the moon. It's ups and downs, but in the long term, the strategy should be working, and that's what you are showing me today.
Exactly. Absolutely. Like whatever edge you have, whatever it is that you use to get inside of the market to help you be profitable, one thing that I realized is you have to keep focusing on that. When I was blowing accounts, I was blaming the markets, I was blaming the strategy, I was blaming the time, I was blaming everything and everyone else but myself. And then once I realized, and that's why I love trading so much, Peter, trading is one of the best freaking things that you can do in the world, because there's nobody else that you can blame. And it's instant, like it gives you instant feedback. If you're a greedy person in the market, you're going to be greedy and you're going to lose. You know what I mean? If you're a person, like whatever type of individual you are, whatever it is going to get, like the market is going to show you who you are. And then it is your job to do that self-analysis and say, okay, you know what? I need to change. But I love this market because there's nobody else to blame. Whether I have a good day or a bad day, Peter, there's only one person to blame, and it's Muhammad. And I love that. I can't blame anybody. I don't have a manager that I can blame. I can't say this person is holding me back from making the most money. There's no other body to blame but me. And that's what I like. I like to be in complete control of my destiny. And in trading, I'm not necessarily in control of my winning profits, but I'm in control of my behavior 100%. I cannot blame anybody else for my behaviors. And I love that about the markets.
Nice. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely.
Really important stuff. So can you now tell me something about the trading objectives and how do you use them? Is that some guidance for you, or have you had before some kind of this trading objectives before you joined FTMO? Or
I actually really like the max daily loss. I really like the max daily loss. The reason why I really like the max daily loss is because whatever the max daily loss is, I usually try to stay about a couple of grand under that. Like, you know, I usually try to do about 50-60% of that. And then like in a trading day, if I hit 60% of my max daily loss, I'm done for the day. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like me personally, like I know how I used to be. I know how I used to overtrade. I know how I used to just, you know, over leverage myself. So because of that, I really love the max daily loss because it's really tough to over leverage yourself. And I really like that about it. And I vehemently use it because I always keep in mind, okay, you know what? My max day, like now my max daily loss is not, my max daily loss isn't 5 grand now, it's 10 grand. So I keep that in mind. So if I take a $5,000 loss in a day, if I take a 6 grand loss in a day, I'm done for the day. I'm done for the day, and then I'll take it on to I'll take it on to the next day. You know what I mean? And like I don't beat myself up, I don't get mad. Like and oftentimes what a lot of traders do is like when they take a bit, like when they take a $5,000-6,000 loss, like they are just beating themselves down, and that's not going to help you be profitable the next day or the next week. You know, you have to understand that you have to take your losses gracefully, just like you take your wins. You know what I mean? There can be no emotion. Like I'm not going to get very excited if I have a 10 grand day, and I'm not going to get very mad if I have a 5 grand loss day. You know what I mean? It's a part of the game. It's a part of the process. You take your punches and you roll with them.
Nice. Before I will ask you about your worst and best trade, I will just say to our followers that right now you are showing me your account with deposit $100,000, but we've been saying in the beginning that you have a mastery account with $200,000 too.
Yes.
So, you know, now you have $200,000.
Yes. So like
just to make check and clear.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So I did another challenge, and then I got the 200,000 account, and actually the beginning of May, I'm going to do one last challenge for an additional 200,000 to get the 400,000.
Wow. Okay, so show me your best trade, you know, so that we can see.
My best trade. Let's take a look. Oh, okay.
Well, yep. So this one, no, you can stop there. Okay, let's now see the biggest one. So $10,000.
No, let's see my. I actually want to see my. So let's see the biggest loss first. You know what I mean? Get that out the way. And I think that my biggest loss
is this one. Is this one?
$2,620. That was my biggest loss at one time.
As I'm seeing it, right, you know, you are opening sometimes 10 lots or 5 lots or sometimes only 1 lot. So how do you calculate that?
So it's based on risk, right? It's based on how many pips I'm risking, right? Because like the percentage, right? So if I'm risking 30 pips versus risking, you know, 37 pips, it's going to be a different lot size, right? Because I'm always risking a particular percentage, right? I always want to risk 1%. If you
are risking only 5 pips, you can open 10 lots, right?
Exactly. Like if I'm risking 5 pips, I can open up a 10 lot. That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen from time to time, especially with the pound Australian dollar. It's not, the pound Australian dollar is just one of those pairs where you're not going to get away risking 5-10 pips, you know, at least not as a swing trader, right? Not for me. You know, I'm sure there's some scalpers out there that can, more power to them. Me personally, that doesn't work for me. But like every once in a while, you know, I'll see like a 10 lot, which is really not a 10 lot, right? A 10 lot on a pound Australian dollar. I think $100 a pip is like $78 a pip when you do the calculation. So absolutely. So so yeah, so that's how it goes. It's just based on the based on how many pips I'm risking, the percentages, and that's how I usually come up with my risk.
Okay, so that was how about the best one?
The best one, let's take a look.
Maybe
Boom.
if you remember it, you can tell me something about how did you do it.
Yeah, my best trade, I can remember it without looking at it. I know I've already pulled up, but my best trade was actually a long position on Great British Pound AUD. Remember when I was telling you that I had caught a nice long? Remember I was telling you, that I had caught like a nice, remember I told you I caught this pin bar right here and pushed it all the way up? So that was actually my best trade. Yeah, so that was this trade right here. I got in at 77.19. And then I took it all the way up to like 1.81 and some change. So that was actually my best trade. That it was. I was probably in this trade like maybe 3-4 days, and it was probably two days, and I made 10 grand on that trade. So that was my
Did you hit the take profit or you closed it by yourself?
Actually, I do not remember.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't. Usually, like I manage my trade, like I have my long-term TP set always. However, I always manage it. Like for instance, like I got out like at 1.81 and some change. So I probably got out as soon as I started getting probably got out around this area right here, right?
So it's kind of some dynamic risk management, right?
Exactly. Like 1.81. Probably got out like when price got to my resistance area, like around this area right here. I probably jumped out before price pushed all the way down again. Before I took it again, probably. Yeah. So that's how it goes. But that was my best trade. That was my best trade.
Okay, show me your other statistics below where we can see your win rates.
Go ahead.
Where we can see your win rates on your overall trading. If you go below. Yes, this one. Exactly. Gotcha. So you are mostly profitable at 1 p.m. and then 2 a.m. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's why is that?
Because I have a particular strategy on gold that I use overnight. So because of that, like there's some particular strategy. Like there's a setup on gold that I take from time to time at night. That's why you're seeing that right there.
But do you sleep enough, or you are wake up in the night? Oh my God, it's the gold, No.
I don't do that. So if my setup is there before I go to bed, then I'll take it. And then if it's not, because I wake up at 2 in the morning, sometimes if I see the setup at 2 in the morning, then I'll take it before I go to the gym. But if not, then I'll just go work out and I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the symbol statistics below?
So the symbol statistics.
That's the pound Australian dollar, right?
That's like the pound, yeah. As you can see, when I trade other pairs, I don't have a lot of success with other pairs. The pound is just that's my baby, man. That's the pair that I know that I'm gonna do well with. That's the pair that I know that I can consistently win with. So that's the pair I focus on.
And I can see the crypto there. You've been trying to buy or sell the Bitcoin.
Yeah,
but we've been talking about the cryptocurrency that you are not a fan of it.
Yeah. So like I don't trade it at I don't trade much because I like to take swing positions, and because the market is so erratic with the cryptos, I try to wait for just a very nice structural area. Okay. So if you take a look right here, with BTC USD, I took it at a very nice structural area, 48 grand when price had pushed back. And then I took it all the way to 56,000, right?
And have you been waiting for some, news release or some fundamental stuff, or you've been just stick to your
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Like when I trade, no fundamentals, 100% technical. I know that might be weird for some people, but that's what works. Yeah, 100% technical is when I trade. No, I don't look at fundamentals. Fundamentals mess me up. Like when I used to get on forexfactory.com and look at meetings and stuff like that. And it actually used to do me more harm than good, because when I would see that there was a meeting coming up, I would change my whole bias because of the meeting. And I don't even know what the hell the news is, or what the news, you don't even know what the report is yet. And then you're already changing your bias. So because of that, 100% technicals.
Right, but you have to be aware when those news releases are.
Absolutely. I'm cognizant of when there's gonna be high. You know what I mean. I'm cognizant of when there's gonna be high strong news that's coming out. You know what I mean. I'm not gonna trade on NFP. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like that. You know what I mean. Like when Brexit was happening, I wasn't gonna trade during Brexit. You know what I mean. So big high volatility news like that. Like I'm either going to be out of the market before then, or I'm going to get in the market afterwards.
Wow, nice. Thank you very much. This was really great. And let's get going. Okay, so thank you very much, Mohammed. And now let's talk about your future. So where do you see yourself in like 5 years period?
Man, 5 years period, I see myself trading a multi-million-dollar account. You know what I mean? So
okay, everyone's been saying.
I know everyone says that, but you know, you have to have an actionable plan, right? So
and reasonable.
And a reasonable plan, right? But I don't think that it's unreasonable to have a multi-million-dollar account that you're trading in 5 years, especially, you know, at the rate that I'm going now. You know what I mean? Me finally being, you know, consistently drawing money out of the markets, you know what I mean? And consistently building my personal account, trading my FTMO account. I think that it's extremely feasible, and I'm going to shoot for the moon. And if I land amongst the stars, it's all good. Right. So, you know, 5 years from now, I definitely hope to still be in the markets. I hope to still be profitable, still learning, still being a student of the game, still being open-minded, you know, still trying to learn, you know what I mean? One thing that I want to get into now is actually dealing with like psychology teachers, you know what I mean? Like 5 years from now, like one of my biggest inspirations to actually start focusing on psychology is Steve Ward. You know, Steve Ward came out, wrote a book called High Performance Trading, and that completely changed the way that I looked at myself in the market, within the market, and Bulletproof Trading. You know, those books were extremely instrumental. And, you know, I definitely in the future would like to, somebody that I would definitely love to connect with and work with, because I think that strengthening yourself mentally would only help your longevity in the markets. So 5 years from now, hoping that I'm still learning. I want to have a trading coach by then. I want to be trading a multi-million-dollar account by then, you know, and I just want to be advancing. You know what I mean? This is like, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like this is my, this is the passport to everything else that I want to do, everything else that I want to invest in the world, all the amazing things that I want to be a part of in this world, everything that I want to do, everything that I want to donate to, everything. The foundation for that is trading. So I definitely have to take my trading to the next level in order to be able to do all the amazing other things that I want to do in this world.
And do you plan to grow with FTMO?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely plan on growing with FTMO. I think that that's definitely feasible.
Have you been thinking about, for example, the scaling plan?
Like every 4 months, they give you like an additional 25%. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, I've done the math. And once I get the $400,000 account with the scaling plan, within 2 years, I'm going to have $1 million account. So with the scaling plan. So it's definitely feasible.
Cool. So what did you say about FTMO to others?
This is what I'm going to say about FTMO. One of the biggest challenges that traders face is undercapitalization. So the biggest thing is a lot of traders get into this market with $500 thinking that they're going to be millionaires. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I hate to burst your bubble, but you're not going to turn $500 into $1 million. You're not going to turn $1,000 into $1 million. That's not feasible. And any gurus online that tell you that, they're full of crap. They're not being completely honest with you. So one of the biggest things that people face is undercapitalization, and people don't even realize it. But when you're undercapitalized and you can't make 50% returns, 60% returns consistently every month. If you have $1,000 account, you can't make 100% return every single month on your way to becoming a millionaire. It's not going to work. There's drawdown. There's going to be periods that you're not going to be winning. So that's what FTMO provides for traders. It provides an avenue to have capital that you can trade so that you can scale. You know what I mean? You can make money with the FTMO. You can fund your account, pay yourself, and continue to trade and build your account up until you have a substantial amount. And I believe that definitely helps out mentally for people. So FTMO, that if there's one thing that I can say FTMO does, it helps take away that stress, that undercapitalization, that stress of trying to turn $500 into $1 million. Now you have an opportunity to put your skill to the test. You know what I mean? If you say that you're cold on the charts, if you're a beast on the charts and you got what it takes, let's go. Take the challenge and get paid. It's easy money.
Wow. Thank you very much for saying that. That's why we are here.
Absolutely.
And do you have some last words to our subscribers and followers, some enlightenment for them?
Absolutely. And this is the honest part, and this is the nitty-gritty part. trading is one of the simplest things in the world. And because of that, it is one of the toughest things to partake in the world. I know doctors that have tried to become traders, they have miserably failed. I know surgeons, I know lawyers who have got into this market and they have completely failed. And the reason why is because it takes a different type of animal to be a trader. A lot of people, like I used to be in the car business and I used to be an alpha male. Like I'm still an alpha male, but I had to learn that you cannot be an alpha in the trading markets. Like the alpha male mentality is a win-win-win-win-win mentality at all costs. That mentality actually helps you fail in trading. Trading is you can't be a lion in trading. You can't be a hunter. I heard Randy Howell say, Randy Howell is a psychologist, like he's like a trading coach. And he says, when you're trading, you need to be a cougar. You cannot be a lion. A lion hunts their prey. A cougar stalks their prey. You have to be able to stalk your trades to find the best high probability trades in trading. And lastly, not everybody succeeds. Most of the people who get into trading are not going to succeed. If it were that simple, everybody would trade. So you have to tell yourself, okay, you know what? This is what I want to do. And by all means, I'm going to do it. Because if you don't have that beast mode in you, if you don't have that animal instinct that you're going to win at all costs, like when it comes to being successful, then you're not going to make it as a trader because it's a very lonely game. You don't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody that I could call when I blew accounts. Like it was tough, man. It was just me and my friend Terrell. That we had each other. We had nobody else. And it's a lonely, dark road. But you have to stay in the game long enough. You have to give yourself enough time to get to the other side. And once you get to the other side, $10,000 a day is nothing. $100,000 a day is nothing. You know what I mean? $1 million in a week is nothing. If you have the capital, you can make it happen. So, you know what I tell all these traders, it's tough. It's hard. You're going to get your butt kicked. It's going to be excruciating. And people that you love are going to tell you, when I quit my job, my loved ones told me not to do it. Everybody told me to go back to my job and work because I was making a very good living. You know what I mean? And I decided to trade. And even after I quit my job in 2018, I wasn't profitable right away. It was tough. I depleted my savings. I almost lost my house. Like, this is the shit that it takes to get to the next level. Like, this is not something that it's going to come right away. But you keep going. You keep persevering. You keep trying to learn and be a better individual. Keep trying to learn yourself, and you're gonna get there eventually.
And that's FTMO.